Part 1.
Michelangelo's David portrait. In this video, you will discover how to apply human anatomy in drawing a classical male portrait. The model for this portrait will be the marble masterpiece of David, created by Renaissance sculptor Michelangelo Buonarroti.
This original marble statue of David is displayed in the Galleria dell'Accademia in Florence, Italy. This statue has a complicated history, and Michelangelo wasn't the first artist who started carving this marble. He had a very difficult job to pick up the commission left by other two talented sculptors who were unable to finish this complicated work of art. I'm making preliminary fast sketches in the museum and apologize for the quality of the video, which is shot freehand without a tripod. The statue is of colossal size. It is more than 5 meters or 17 feet high. Michelangelo was working on it from 1501 to 1504. It is arguably the most recognized statue in the world. With the preliminary sketches complete, we can now move to the studio where I will show you how to draw a male portrait and will explain classical body proportions and human anatomy. I begin the drawing by marking the scale of the head, its outermost top edge, and the line of the lower jaw. Also, I mark the left and right edges of the head, giving the lead room to the portrait, the space in front of the nose. The central line of the face is a very important guide. Together with the horizontal lines of the eyes, it immediately indicates the position of the head in the space. In our case, the head is looking to the right and seen from below. That is why the vertical virtual line is curved to the right and the horizontal virtual line is arched upward. The eye line divides the height of the head into 2 equal halves. At this step, I ignore facial features and small details. The task at the moment is to establish correct proportions in the portrait. Right now, I am only concentrating on big masses marking main contours and outlines of the head in a series of straight lines. David stands in the contrapposto pose. That is why he is one shoulder higher than the other. The collarbone repeats the tilt of the shoulders. The same tilt is also applied for the nipple line and the chest line. Two vertical lines on the chest indicate the nipple's position, as well as the inner front edges of the deltoid muscles. The vertical line in the middle of the chest marks the breastbone position. Diagonal lines that connect the cross points of the vertical virtual lines and the horizontal axis of the shoulders and the chest will help us establish correct positions for the shoulders' edges, armpits, and deltoid muscles. The neck muscles are another important feature in this portrait. The frontal portion of this muscle starts from the top edge of the breastbone and inserts into the base of the skull behind the ear. Now I mark the contours of the chest muscle. I am outlining David's hand, which is raised to his shoulder. The length of the hand's block, from the wrist to the knuckles, is equal to half the face height. This proportion is quite easy to keep in check as David's hand is so close to his face. This is the underplane of the lower jaw. The distance from the chin line to the base of the nose is equal to the distance from the nose line to the eyebrows line. It is also equal to the distance from the eyebrows line to the hair roots line. I check this proportion using the pencil as a measuring stick. The distance between eyes is equal to the length of one eye. We'll look at David's head from below in 3/4 view. That is why we see his eyes in perspective. When drawing eyes, you need to remember they have a spherical shape with eyelids wrapping around the shape. We see David's nose from below, so we have a good view on the nose underplane. According to classical face proportions, the width of the nose is equal to the length of the eye. As we established previously, this is the same dimension as the distance between the eyes. That is why we can use two virtual lines that vertically go from the inner corners of both eyes downward to the wings of the nose. These lines will help us establish the correct nose proportions. The David's mouth is also seen from below, and therefore the line between the lips is arched upward. In one of his sketchbooks, the Renaissance genius Leonardo da Vinci describes the following proportions for the mouth. The width of the mouth is the same as the distance from the line between lips to the chin line. This is, of course, the idealized classical proportion. In the same sketchbook, Leonardo also mentioned that the height of the ear is equal to the length of the nose. The best way to put this proportion in place is to draw two lines, which horizontally go from the base of the nose and from the eyebrows to the ear. These lines will mark the bottom and top edges of the ear. We see the head from below in 3/4 view. That is why these two horizontal lines are distorted in perspective and arched upward. The line where the ear connects to the head is slightly tilted backward. The ear's shape resembles the character C. It has two rims, the outer one and the inner. The inner rim, at the top, splits into two arms. The muscles of the eyebrows are contracted, which give David's face the look of concentration and focus. I will mark contours and outlines of the David's hairstyle to complete the constructive drawing. As you see at this step, we only focus on the construction of the head and the face, making sure all proportions and features are correct and in place. In the next video, I will continue this drawing by rendering in pencil tonal values to reveal the portrait's three-dimensional nature.